Walk into almost any pastor's study in the Tirunelveli district of South India today, and you'll likely spot something curious sitting on a shelf or hanging on the wall. Look at this framed bronze bas-relief. It's a portrait of a European man, and the gold Tamil plaque below it reads, Apostle of Tirunelveli. This is Reverend Charles T.E. Rhenius. During his time in India in the early 19th century, he brought in roughly 10,000 converts and sparked a massive social movement among the local population. Yet, if you open the official history books of the Anglican Church, you'll barely find his name. He is treated as a minor footnote, if he is mentioned at all. Curious, slightly conspiratorial. How does a man single-handedly build one of the most successful missions in Asia, only to have his own employers, the Church Missionary Society, actively scrub his legacy from the record? The answer lies in a bitter clash between local reality and colonial bureaucracy. To understand how Rhenius's overwhelming success became the very thing that doomed him, we have to go back to his arrival in 1820. When Rhenius first arrived in Palamkata, the local mission was neglected and failing. The Christian presence there was nominal, with congregations left largely uneducated and uncared for. He immediately saw the problem: language. Rather than forcing locals to learn classical Tamil, Rhenius wrote a new, practical grammar book and translated the New Testament into the colloquial language people actually spoke. Instead of dictating from a pulpit, he traveled extensively on a white horse, riding straight into the villages. He ignored the rigid social hierarchies and caste boundaries that British colonial officials typically tiptoed around. He even built alliances outside the faith. Rhenius befriended local Jains and Hindus, earning their respect to the point where they willingly funded his schools and social programs. This intense, ground-level engagement triggered a mass movement, particularly among the marginalized Nadar caste, drawing thousands into his congregations. By prioritizing local needs over London's directives, Rhenius built a fiercely loyal grassroots power base, and that independence terrified the institutional church. The friction started over how to worship. Rhenius realized that strict European church structures, like formal English liturgy and rigid prayer books, did not translate well to Indian cultural realities. Look at this memoir page from the period. It notes that, though Lutheran by birth, Rhenius systematically rejected rigid Lutheran doctrine, and he entirely tossed out the required Anglican prayer book for his daily services. The Church Missionary Society in London demanded total compliance. They gave him an ultimatum: fall in line with official church structure or else. Rhenius refused to yield control over a community he built. In 1835, the CMS pulled the trigger. They officially fired their most effective agent. But Rhenius didn't pack up and go home. He took his 10,000 followers and set up an independent rogue mission right next door. He had the international reputation to pull it off. Historical reports from the time show he successfully defended his work against institutional charges, drawing abundant funding from European and Indian admirers who wanted to support him directly. For the CMS, this was the worst-case scenario. Rhenius had created a massive, self-funded, highly successful church operating completely outside of British colonial oversight. The rogue mission thrived until June 1838, when Rhenius suddenly died of apoplexy. He was only 48 years old. Without his sheer force of personality to hold the independent movement together, the structure collapsed. The CMS immediately stepped back in to absorb his flock. They also applied intense financial pressure to his grieving family. To secure a pension, Rhenius's widow and son had to officially submit to the authority of the very organization that had cast him out. Look at this towering Gothic-style church in the region. Buildings like this represent the permanent architectural and social foundation he laid down. But on paper, the cleanup was ruthless. Anglican historians deliberately wrote Rhenius out of their narratives, ensuring the historical record depicted a neat, unified, top-down church. The institution won the battle for the history books, but in South India, the people won the battle for memory. They kept the true apostle of Tirunelveli alive, hanging his portrait in the very study rooms where the official history was supposed to be forgotten.